And that's a 15-year felony. So if you are found guilty by a jury, you can go to prison for up to 15 years. So Mr. Musgrove, I know where you're going with this, and none of that is valid. None of that is law.
I'm not the all caps name. Of course.
None of that is valid. None of that is law. You are standing in my courtroom. I have jurisdiction over you. Still a crime. Still a crime.
But I'm not
still
a corporation. I'm a living person.
Yep, and that's why you're standing in front of me. If you were dead, the case would be dismissed.
All right, folks, buckle up for this one. What starts off looking like a normal hearing quickly slides straight into sovereign citizen territory. And you know what that means. A whole lot of nonsense about jurisdiction, all caps names, and some poor judge just trying to get through the morning without pulling their hair out. So here we go. The judge calls on Mr. Musgrove. Seems simple, right?
So, Mr. Dagger-Margosian, how do you wish to proceed?
Well, Your Honor, I am aware that Mr. Musgrove wants to present information to the court. I'm happy to be standby counsel if he wants to represent himself. Obviously, this court would have to go through the colloquy of that, but obviously it's Mr. Musgrove's legal right to at least ask the court to do that. So I'm here to observe at this point.
All right. So, Mr. Musgrove, when you were at the bench or up at the podium before, you said that you were appearing on behalf of yourself. So, Mr. Musgrove, are you asking to no longer have counsel represent you?
Well, what I'm understanding is that the courts is a private for-profit.
So, Mr. Musgrove, I know where you're going with this, and none of that is valid. None of that is law.
I'm not the all caps name. Of course.
None of that is valid. None of that is law. You are standing in my courtroom. I have jurisdiction over you. So.
I tried to file paperwork with the clerk's office ahead of time so that you would have time to review it, and they denied me.
I know what you're talking about. None of that is valid under the law of the state of Michigan or the Constitution of the United States of America.
But instead of a straightforward answer, he launches into the sovereign citizen starter. PAC. He claims the court is a private corporation, insists his name isn't spelled correctly, and, of course, drops the legendary "I'm not the all caps name" excuse. Now, let's stop here for a second. Who came up with this all caps argument? Anyway? Seriously. The idea that if your name shows up in capital letters, the case magically doesn't apply to you? That's not law. That's Google University at 2 a.m. It's the courtroom equivalent of saying,
What do you mean it is?
No.
The Supreme Court says it is.
What does it say it is?
The Supreme Court says that if we were at the age of 18, we were supposed to claim our minor status.
Nope, not valid.
Okay.
So here's what I would say to you. Mr. Dagger-Margosian is, like most of our public defenders, exceptional attorneys and very well versed in the law and very experienced. He gives legal advice. You may not like the legal advice, but it's usually good advice. I've never had anyone from the public defender's office not wholeheartedly try to represent their clients. So what you are talking about is not valid, and it is not going to get you out of this case. You're not going to be able to say all those things because it's not valid.
Everyone involved in this court case has a financial interest in the case.
I don't have a financial interest in your case. I get paid by the state of Michigan, whether you plead, whether it gets dismissed. I don't make any money off you. We have budgets. The court system is not a profit generating revenue. We are here to represent people so that people who are charged with crimes are protected. People who are victims of crimes are protected. And that's why we have all
in order for there to be a crime, there has to be a victim. There is no.
Well, there is a victim in this case.
The victim would be the company.
You are charged.
I can't face
actually. Just hold on. So your crime that you are charged with, which you are innocent as of this time, let me grab the right file, is failure. Oh, this is let me see. This is an embezzlement charge. So you are charged in count one with embezzlement 50,000 or more, but less than 100,000. that being an agent, servant, or employee of Hardwoods of Michigan Industries did convert to your own use without the consent of your employer or principal, industrial tools and equipment in the amount of $68,938.40 or money or equipment. And that's a 15-year felony. So if you are found guilty by a jury, you can go to prison for up to 15 years.
I don't believe in gravity while you're falling off a roof. The judge, though, doesn't waste time. She cuts him off mid-ramble. None of that is valid. None of that is law. You're standing in my courtroom and I have jurisdiction over you. Boom. Just like that, the sovereign citizen script gets shredded in one clean sentence. But does Mr. Musgrove stop there? Oh no. He doubles down. He claims the Supreme Court backs him up, talks about minor status at 18, and throws out every buzzword he can think of. And the judge? She's heard it all before. You can practically hear the
You're charged in count 2 with using a computer to commit a crime. To facilitate the charge in count 1, that carries a maximum penalty of up to 10 years in prison. And the way the statute's set up, I can actually stack those possibly. So you potentially could be looking at up to 25 years in prison. So the victim that's alleged in this would be that business.
Right, and I can't face that accuser because that business can't get on the stand for me to ask questions, and a third party.
But their
can't stand
representative
it.
can. Yes, they can. Yes,
They
they
can?
can. Yes, they
Okay.
can. So I have $189,000 of student loan debt that was forgiven to be a lawyer. You do not. And Mr. Dagger Margosian, Mr. Isaac Sneed, all of the attorneys here went to law school to know the law, and their job is to advise you of the law. So
Yeah,
yes,
but
they
they're
can.
going-
Yes,
They're
you
going
can be
by
charged.
everything, all the
can't-
laws and statutes that you guys go by
Are
for
legal.
corporations. They're for
Still a crime. Still a crime.
But I'm not
Still a
a fictitious
crime.
corporation, I'm a living person.
Yep, and that's why you're
Okay.
standing in front of me. If you were dead, the case would be dismissed.
Yeah, the all caps name is that.
That means nothing. That's not valid. It's
Okay.
not legal.
right.
So do you want to represent yourself or do you want to have an attorney to represent you?
I need some time to think.
Okay, so I'm gonna set this for another pretrial on March 20th at 8:30 in the morning. And Miss Adams, could I get a notice of hearing for Mr. Musgrove?
high in her voice. Nope, not valid. And here's where it gets interesting. The court reveals what this case is actually about. Not traffic tickets, not loitering. No, this is serious embezzlement. We're talking about nearly $69,000 worth of tools and equipment allegedly stolen. That's not a slap on the wrist crime. That's a 15-year felony staring him right in the face. Now, I don't know about you, but if I were facing a decade and a half in prison, I'd probably keep my head down, listen to my lawyer, and pray for a deal. But not this guy. Nope. He's too busy arguing punctuation and pretending the court doesn't exist. And here's the kicker. There's also a second charge. Using a computer to commit that crime. That one can stack another 10 years on top. So now he's potentially looking at 25 years, a quarter of a lifetime. But instead of fighting the actual charges, he's arguing grammar. And let me tell you, if this heads to a jury trial, it's going to be like watching a slow-motion train wreck. Juries do not have patience for this kind of nonsense. They'll see right through it. And the only thing Mr. Musgrove will accomplish is making himself look even guiltier. Just when you think Mr. Musgrove couldn't dig the hole any deeper, he grabs a bigger shovel. Now he tries the classic sovereign citizen fallback. There's no victim, so there's no crime. On the surface, it almost sounds clever. Until you remember the victim here is a business that lost nearly $70,000 in equipment. That's not imaginary. That's not optional. That's theft. But Musgrove thinks he's got a loophole. I can't face my accuser because a company can't sit on the witness stand. And here's where the judge hits him with the truth, point blank. Yes, they can. Their representative can testify. That's the law. End of story. And then comes the moment that really shows how far out of his depth this man is. The judge reminds him, every attorney in this courtroom went through law school, racked up mountains of student loans, and actually learned the law. You did not. Ouch. That's the kind of sting you don't recover from. It's not just a reminder that he's unqualified. It's the judge basically saying, you're playing checkers in a chess match and you're losing badly. But Musgrove isn't done. He throws in more sovereign word salad about corporations and insists he's a living person, as if the court somehow forgot he's breathing in front of them. The judge doesn't even flinch. If you were dead, this case would be dismissed. But you're not. You're standing here. So, yes, the law applies. At this point, it's painful. The judge gives him one last choice: represent himself or let a lawyer handle it. And what does he say? I need time to think, so the judge sets another pretrial date, probably hoping that by then, reality will finally sink in. But judging? From his performance so far, I'm not holding my breath. Because here's the thing about sovereign citizens. Judges don't forget. Every delay, every nonsense argument, every wasted minute only stacks the odds higher against them. And if this case goes to trial, well, let's just say the jury won't be nearly as patient as this judge has been. So here's the million-dollar question. Is Musgrove digging himself into a guaranteed 10 to 25-year sentence? Or does he actually think this all-caps theory is going to save him?